What's up, everybody? Adrian Clark here, creator, founder, author of Protect Yourself at All Times. And I'm also the host of Protect Yourself at All Times, the 7-part series, which will air exclusively on Fight Network the fall of this year. So you guys be on the lookout for that. I'm here today, though, to talk about the boxer manager agreement, which I created back in 2016, around the same time that I created Protect Yourself at All Times. I've been getting a lot of inquiries on social media and through my email about what happened to the boxer manager agreement, what happened to the video that was on YouTube. And truth is, the boxer manager agreement was a big part of AC Sports Management, but I sold AC Sports Management last year to a bigger agency. So the website I had to do away with, which of course did away with the boxer manager agreement. So I took down the video on YouTube, which I feel was a little bit outdated. So I wanted to do another video, as I'm doing now, to just update individuals on the importance of the boxer manager agreement and what it does for fighters, and now where you can download it at. But just to give you just a little bit of tidbits, man, for fighters and even for the guardians, the parents, people that really care for these guys, we have to start programming boxers, whether it's guys in the amateurs getting ready for pro or current professionals, to start viewing boxing as a business first. Then, secondary, you view it as a sport. Business has to be handled first. Your contracts, man, the negotiations, the percentages, all of that has to be handled before the sport actually comes into the play. And I feel like a lot of times fighters are either taken advantage of, or they're ignorant within their own right. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just they sidestep the business side of things and they only focus on the sport. They only want to get better inside the ring, so they really play a blind eye to what goes on outside of the ring, which is the most important thing. You're going to get your day to get in that ring and fight and show that you're the best or compete at a high level, but the business side of things has to be handled first. And that's just one of the important things about the boxer manager agreement. A lot of guys go into fixed term agreements under managers, which they will be paying at the end of the day. And some of the percentages vary. You go from maybe 20%, 25%, all the way up to between 33 and 35% of what fighters are paying managers to negotiate contracts for them. And I saw recently Errol Spence put up a post saying that guys are still paying 33% of their purse to a manager. Like that's robbery, it's criminal. And he's absolutely right. It's both of those things. But you can't fault a manager for coming in with his contract saying, look, this is my percentage, I work for 33%, and the fighter saying, okay, well, let me sign it. No, everything is negotiable in the sport of boxing. And the reason why everything is negotiable in the sport of boxing is because there is no athlete union. There is no fighters council or a union for the fighters to regulate the managers, to regulate the contracts, to regulate the percentages as there are in other sports. And when I say regulate, just to give an example, the National Basketball Players Association, they not only license all of the sports agents, which do the same job as managers in boxing, they license them, but they also regulate the percentages. No agent, if I'm still keen on the information, no agent takes more than 4% of a player's contract. 4%, and professional basketball players make way more than professional boxers. So that's just one example of how the NBA players are protected. With you guys as fighters, there is no protection. So everything is negotiable, from the percentages to the amount of years, to severing things from the contract, which means taking out clauses or whatever. All of that is negotiable. But what will make things easier is if, as a fighter, you come to the table with the boxer manager agreement and you have more control over the contract. I believe fighters should have the same rights as a manager should, or a manager has, so to speak, with his traditional contract. So a fighter should have a chance to terminate the contract or relieve the manager of his duties if the manager is not up to par, if the manager is not doing his job or making certain mistakes. The fighter should have the right to terminate the contract within 15 to 30-day notice and move on with his career. Because with boxing managers, you know, if a fighter loses a fight or he looks bad or he gets dropped by a promotional company, the managers, they either walk away or they terminate the contract. They go on with their careers and the fighters are stuck trying to figure it out. So I don't want to give too much away because, you know, there's a website that I actually am putting out, Protect Yourself at All Times. I'm actually digging deeper into Protect Yourself at All Times now that I am not a boxing manager anymore. I've actually retired from the sport. So the information that I'm giving you guys is from a matter-of-fact standpoint. I've been in it before and I've negotiated with all of the top companies, and I never, you know, put guys under fixed-term contracts to where they couldn't get out. I've been fired numerous times. I was fired numerous times as a boxing manager, and you know, guys were either unhappy or they had better situations, and it wasn't on me to stand in their way of, excuse me, whatever greatness they were gonna have going forward. So that's just a little bit on the boxing manager agreement, but it will be available for download on Protect Yourself at All Times, a new website, which I am putting out the beginning of September 2020. And it'll be available for download on pyaat.org, pyaat.org. You can go there. The link is probably below on this YouTube channel. You can go there, you can download the website, you can download the contract, but also you can get different information on what's going on in the business and how you can better protect yourself in the sport of the business of boxing. I have a lot of knowledge that I can put out there, that I've been putting out there, from the book you see behind me to documentary to video blogs to, you know, my partnership with Everlast, and now there'll be a TV show that I'm putting out that will help guys protect themselves. But for this video, the Boxer Manager Agreement will be available for download on pyaat.org. Be available for download for free. Please take advantage of it. Please don't be afraid to introduce it to a manager that's looking to work for you. The key thing about it is this: they're still going to get paid and they're still going to have time to work with you to build you up. It's not like it's going to be this one-sided thing to where the managers are put at a disadvantage. I know how it is for a manager, and one of the things that I want to put out there just for managers really quickly, in regards to because you're seemingly an investor almost, you know, you're negotiating a contract, so that's what you're being paid for, but sometimes these fighters need help. So I would advise you guys, any type of stipend or any type of finances that are that you put out for the fighters, I advise you guys to have a separate loan agreement on hand. So that way, you know, if you're working with the fighter and you front them some money and they decide that, you know, they want to go a different direction, instead of you binding your investment to their boxing manager contract, you should have a separate loan agreement or promissory note that however much money that you put up, the date you put it up, it's pretty much the time you put the money up for them, that money comes back to you. So if they move on to another manager, either that manager pays that debt that's owed, or the fighter pays it off based off of his fights. But that's a way for you managers to protect yourself and protect your finances. But the having the contracts where you're having these guys for 5 to 7 years and they can't fire you, but you can walk away from them at any time, you know, that's BS. And I look at other sports. I'm a former NBA sports agent, and although I didn't have any clients, but I've worked for big agencies. I sold to a big agency, and you don't keep clients hostage. You keep them happy. You bust your behind for them so they're happy with you and they want to stay with your company and possibly bring in other clients. You know, that's how you earn your keep. You don't earn your keep by keeping guys hostage and saying, hey, well, I have this contract and you can't leave me or go with anybody else for the next 5 or 7 years. That don't make you a strong representative, man. You put in the work and putting them in positions and getting them opportunities and educating them. That's what makes you a strong manager. But I hope you guys take this video, especially the fighters. I hope you guys take value into this video and actually utilize the contract. Don't be afraid to utilize this contract. Available for download, pyaat.org. Protect yourself at all times, baby.